Hey, Mark. Getting ready for the big Anna Silk interview?
Yep, just getting all the questions in order here.
Yeah, I can't believe you convinced her to come into the studio for an interview.
Yeah, not only that, I convinced her to come in character as well.
You managed to get her to come as Bo from Lost Girl?
No, I got her to come in as Deb, the flight attendant.
Oh, no.
Mark, is that your name? Do you realize that I have a flight in exactly 1 hour and my time is extremely precious? There was no car waiting for me out front. I want my water cold, but this chair is too hard. There's no pop filters in this microphone. And who are all these people staring at me?
I need a smoke.
Hello once again and welcome to Epic. I am your host Mark Cabot. Today we have a very special episode of Epic. We're talking about Anna Silk. You may know her from the hit showcase series Lost Girl. She's also made appearances in such series as Being Erica, Republic of Doyle, Ghost Whisperer, and more. And with me in the studio to talk about Anna Silk is Nutty.
Hello.
Andy.
How's it going?
Joel.
How's it going is my line, Andy?
Still it.
Richard.
Hey.
Seth Cooperman.
Hi there.
And of course, the lovely and talented Anna Silk.
Hello there.
So Anna, how are you enjoying your stay here in Fredericton?
I'm loving my stay here in Fredericton. I always love coming home to Fredericton.
Do you get to come back home very often?
Yeah, usually like twice a year.
Does performing kind of run in your genes, so to speak?
Well, I guess it probably does in some way. I mean, my mom is really involved in the theater community here in Fredericton. A lot of people know her. Her name is Ilke Silk, and she teaches theater at St. Thomas and is involved with TNB and has always been a really big part of the arts community here and theater community. So even though I wasn't that involved growing up, I mean, I was kind of involved on and off. It was more of just a hobby that I did sometimes, just like sometimes I played soccer. But I think, it probably does on some level run in my genes. And from my dad's side of the family, he's very musical. That does not run in my genes at all. Although Seth says I can sing, but I really can't. He just is in love with me. So
I would ask her to sing something if I were you.
No.
Oh, I second that.
Twinkle, twinkle, little
This
star.
is where you should have
Maybe.
music already loaded. Cabot. Start playing it.
But my sister is a great singer, and her name is Mandy Silk, and she has a band here in town, and she performs locally and around the province, and loves it. And she's very talented.
So can you sing us a little bit of Twinkle Twinkle?
No, I'm an awful singer. My husband can sing. He used to sing
How about a duet?
in a boy band.
Whoa!
Wow.
I thought you looked
familiar.
familiar.
Steaming up in here!
Yep.
So
Is it Joel
I
Simmer?
can't really top that.
But it's a boy band.
The name of the band, you gotta tell us.
Oh no, we're really entering weird territory. It was a Jewish boy band. The name was Chamsa Boys.
Okay.
We were the
They sang
Chamsa
in
Boys.
Hebrew?
It was all in Hebrew, except for one English song. Yeah. We toured the country. Like, it was serious. We had mics that, remote mics on our heads, and we had costume changes and full concerts. And
There's
Did
gotta
you
be a
pretend to play
YouTube
instruments
clip.
too?
there probably
I've only
is.
ever
It was-
seen one clip, and he was all in white, and I thought, I think I've seen.
Yeah, that was enough.
I'd rather listen.
It was sort of like Menudo too. Like, people would swap in and out over the years. The band name never changes, but people. So if you YouTube it, you might find them, but I'm not in it. So it depends what you find. But there are embarrassing things online. I'm not going to tell you where to find them.
Prep the show
Up to you.
notes.
You guys
Challenge accepted.
Yes.
are
All right.
smart enough. Feel free.
So naturally that actually makes me kind of wonder if there's going to be like a musical episode of Lost Girl down the
don't
road.
know.
Like,
You know
I mean,
what?
most shows will do it at least once.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I think we've had a few episodes over the seasons that have stood out on their own, and those are kind of our musical episodes, but we've never actually done a musical episode, and I think that would be cool. Even though I don't know how many of us can actually sing, but I still think it would be fun.
I think Rick would
that's
score
what
on
I'm
us
Tuning this
probably.
for.
Rick, I bet Rick can sing.
Well, he already has
Chris
two
can
albums
sing.
out.
He does?
Yes.
Rick Howland?
Yes.
Has 2 albums
He has
out?
2 albums out on iTunes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, he does.
How do I know this and you don't?
How do I not know that?
Yeah,
He's my
got albums.
grandpa.
Yeah,
He doesn't
he
share
won some
anything.
competition for a video he made too. on his-
I've researched you guys a
Yeah.
little bit, I guess.
I did not know that. That is not something he's ever
and
told.
Chris,
You'll have
Chris
to come
sings.
on set next time with like a DVD or one of his CDs.
I know.
have it
I
loaded
will.
on
I
your
will.
iPod.
I'm going to ask him about that.
Can you tell us a little bit about your education here in Fredericton? I know you went to St. Thomas University and you graduated with a degree in
Psychology.
Psychology, okay.
Yep. If we want to start way back, I went to Connaught Street School Elementary. Then I went to George Street Junior High, then Fredericton High School. Then I went to the Craft College for a year,
Okay.
which is a great school, and I'm not very artistic, it turns out, when it comes to, doing things creatively with my hands. And but it taught me that I kind of wanted to go to university, so I did, and I went to St. Thomas. And I graduated with a psychology degree, which I loved. It was the first time in my life and the only time that I actually liked being a student. And I loved doing well. So I was like really an overachiever. And I studied really hard and I did well. And then I was like, oh, good. Now I'm going to go be an actor.
I guess a follow-on question. Do you find having a background in psychology relevant to the work that you do now? Getting in like somebody else's head or mindset, even if that is just a fictitious character that has been written, trying to understand them?
Definitely in that way for sure, but I think in another way, in a bigger way for me, it just made me more resourceful. It made me able to I never approached the same way. I never approach things the same. Why can't I say this? I never approach things the same way twice. That doesn't even make sense. Why can't I put these words in order?
Busted.
Anyway,
That makes sense. Yeah.
so have learned to be more resourceful is pretty invaluable for anyone, really. But as an actor, it's been very helpful.
Did you have any specific idols that you had in either the acting community or any other community for that matter?
Well, when I think about like idols and people that I looked up to, it was always my peers. It was never, there's like movie stars I can think of that I looked up to, or
Jewish
Wonder
boy
Woman.
band people.
What's that?
Jewish boy band people.
Jewish boy band people, the Hamza boys, for sure. But yeah, it was mostly my peers. My mom always worked with these incredible students who they just came out of the woodwork and they could sing, and they were so talented and they were just sort of so great. And I would just think, wow, it's, I was just so in awe of most of them, and thought, gee, I'd love to be able to do that, but I don't think that's something I could ever do. And I really can't sing. It's something I always wanted to do. And eventually I did.
Can I take I have mic droop here. Can I?
He needs to
You're not supposed to tell anybody
perk
about
up
that,
his
man.
mic.
There's like a little knob that you can.
Guys over yourselves.
Yeah, I'm tightening the knob.
This whole thing's getting cut. Everything just sounds
We always go through
wrong.
this. We always make fun of the mics.
But before we start laying down stuff we're going to use, can I just say the Jewish boy band is so New York.
It's so
Yeah.
Wasn't it awesome? It's like, so what? It was like basically touring the country, bar mitzvahs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Birthdays.
How do you spell
a lot of
that
screaming
band name?
13-year-olds. How do you spell it?
He's not gonna tell you.
HAMSA.
It's-
Boys, but with an S. Like we didn't.
He didn't
Oh, you didn't do the
Z.
boys?
Boys with a Z.
With a
Boys
Z.
with a Z.
That's
In the US we
clearly
call it
too
Z.
far.
I don't know what this Z thing is.
Oy vey.
Uh,
And I didn't mean that. Oh, that's just what I normally say.
You know what's awesome about it being Z and not Z is it could also be like a villain's name. It's intimidating. I am the great Z. But if you're like, I'm Mr. Z,
There's
it doesn't have the same.
Yeah, it just sounds
You know
like
what?
a
I
friendly
always
principal.
forget which is the American and which is the Canadian.
Canadians are Zed.
They have their own
Canadians are
channel.
Z.
Yeah.
Canadians are Z.
Yeah.
I actually use them interchangeably. If I'm going through the
I do
alphabet,
too.
I'll say X, Y, Z. But if I'm isolated referring to the letter Z, it is Z. So really,
Well,
Yeah, Americans don't do Zed at all.
it's basically the alphabet song we've been taught, right?
Yeah.
We
Z
were
doesn't
having-
rhyme. I mean, Z doesn't rhyme.
just before you guys arrived, we were having this whole conversation about pop and soda. You missed out.
Seth, how is
They
it
probably
pronounced?
didn't.
What is Coke? It is a.
Soda.
Thank
there
you.
go.
Thank you. See,
Yep.
finally back up.
Northeast.
do they
right?
call it in Australia?
Yeah.
If
Fizzy
you're,
drink.
if you're in the South in the U.S., it's popping.
Does Australia really call it
It's
fizzy?
fizzy drink.
No, it's
in
pop.
Australia.
Oh.
And if you're in some of the Mason-Dixon states, it's Coke, no matter what it is.
No matter what it is.
What kind of Coke would you like? Do you want some 7-Up Coke?
Yep.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, seriously.
That's confusing.
And in
do they call Coke?
Massachusetts, I think it's like
Coke.
soda water.
It's like chicken fried chicken.
Seth will ask for like a seltzer too. And I'm
Yes,
like, a seltzer?
That's
No
what
one
it's
says that.
called.
And
It's
no
like
one knows.
medication.
On Air Canada, they look at me like I'm an idiot when I say
know.
seltzer.
I know.
So
then I
you'll
have
be
to
lucky
ask-
to catch club soda as well. Like, I'm surprised at how many times I ask for club soda and they don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, it's
you gotta
seltzer.
say seltzer. Depends on
Seltzer, yeah.
which airline you're on.
Yeah.
So Seth, you've been in this area at least twice now. This being at least your second time, because I know you guys got married here.
In Fredericton?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because we got married here. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been here a handful of times.
Is there any local colloquial?
There's an outside observer.
Colloquialisms.
Is there any local things that really kind of strike you as different?
What's in Sutter said?
Oh gosh, what strikes me as different? Just some of the things that people say, like giver. That's
Yep.
Oh, that's
Actually,
ours. Don't try to take it from
Facebook,
us.
I'm not
once
taking away.
he
It's just,
asked
I
me-
just think it's so
Okay,
interesting. I'm like, what does it mean to giver?
But remember the first time you were like, "What's a guyver?" And
What's
I'm
a-
like,
it's like,
"What do you mean?" And I saw the context. I'm like, "Oh no,
no.
sweetie,
No.
giver."
Was the apostrophe in the giver, or was it all just one
I think
word?
it was just one word.
We're not very proud of
That's
that
not
one, to be
appropriate.
honest.
Yeah, but it's,
I always
love
thought
Fredericton.
that was like a
Love it.
redneck term that just kind of got picked up and.
It's very
I
New
didn't know it was
Brunswick.
a
I'll say, yeah. Now, see, now, Mark and I, of course, Seth was too. We mostly grew up in the North Shore.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of terms, like and a giver was just something that we just grew up with.
What about fill your boots? Is that a New Brunswickism too? If I were to
does
tell
that
you to fill
mean?
your boots, do you know what that? What you
I never
people
heard
don't?
that.
Fill your
It
boots.
means help yourself as
Yeah.
much as you would
Yeah,
like.
You've never heard of fill your
Oh.
boots?
Sorry, I've
I
only
don't
been
say
here
that.
a year.
I will start saying that.
Yeah.
What about Holy Lifton? Is that?
That's pretty New Brunswick.
That's pretty. New
Holy
Brunswick.
Lipton.
Holy Lifton.
Holy Lipton, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I've never heard
Not
that
not a type of tea.
When
No, Lipton, not Lipton.
one of the first gifts Anna's mom bought me was a book about New Brunswick and Fredericton, and it had just a glossary of all these and
Yeah.
translations of all these terms in the back. It was quite helpful.
Is that the
So,
Carlton County
follow-up
Dictionary?
question.
What was the name of that
Yeah.
book?
Sorry.
What was the name of that book? Do you recall?
Oh, I loved the gift, but no, I don't remember the name. Okay.
Sounds
my-
like the Carlton County Dictionary.
My follow-up, yes, I think that's what it is. Our program director has shown me that, by the way, the Carlton County Dictionary. But my follow-up question is, Anna, how many New Yorkisms have you picked up?
Oh gosh.
Because I know my husband is constantly spouting the Yiddish, and people at work are like, "What are you doing?"
I don't know. I mean, like Seth's family, when we go visit his family, to me, they have really strong New York accents. Seth does not. Don't know why, but his whole family does.
Yeah, I got rid of it.
So I love hearing like all the nieces and nephews with their, coffee and stuff like this. The car.
Whose car is that?
Whose car? Yeah.
Whose car
I
is
love
that?
it. I don't know how many New Yorkisms. There is like a cultural difference between us that we just notice sometimes. Like it's just a different upbringing and a different sort of, Seth's definitely taught me the New York walk, because when I first moved to, Toronto from here, I still had a Fredericton sort of demeanor, which I still have.
The stroll.
Yes, the stroll. And so I would get banged into a lot. So now Seth has taught me, he's like, you got to walk like a New Yorker if we're in a crowd. And literally everyone just gets out of your way.
Do you guys want to know the
That
secret?
they do.
Do you want to know the secret?
I do. I
Yes.
struggle with this in crowded cities.
Yes, but now
is
you'll
it the
know.
gun?
It is.
It's not the gun. The gun helps, but it's not the gun.
I carry a shiv at all times. No, it's no eye contact. You look at the horizon past
But you look
anyone who's coming at
purposeful.
you.
Oh, I see.
And as they're coming
Okay.
at you, they look at you and they think you're going to get out of their way, but then they realize, oh, he's not looking at me.
No, and he has purpose.
I better get out of his way. And he's got a purpose.
Yep.
Yes.
So you look well beyond everyone. No one matters. You're looking at the horizon, and everyone gets out of your way.
How does
And
that-
move fast.
How does that work if you run into someone else doing the same thing, though?
I don't
Like,
know.
It's a game of chicken.
I just always
You just
assumed-
bump into each other and like, where the hell did you come from?
So few people do it. You actually stop, shake hands, a little respect between, and then you leave.
Yes.
I just
See,
assumed.
and I think
know
that's
high
where
five
the
as you go
"Hey,
past
I'm
it."
walking here" comes from.
yeah.
I'm walking here.
I assumed that my problem was that I'm roughly the dimensions of a Viking, not because of some kind of psychological demeanor. But
Well,
now
imagine a Viking with purpose.
But I always I'm like, I'm going to collide with this person. I have to.
Well, also, you kind of feel really cool and
A New Yorker Viking with purpose.
dodging.
That's what I have to be. I know, my life is now complete.
Now, if you dressed like
I
a
have to leave
Viking,
right now and become a New Yorker Viking. Excuse me.
if you dressed like a Viking, I'm sure everyone would get out of your way.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, big horn
Yeah.
thing with a
Awesome.
fur
For
cape and
different
just a
reasons,
little.
but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so now, Seth. So, out of curiosity, then, can you actually tell us then where is the original famous Rays?
He can't tell you that. He's from upstate.
It's in New York.
No, I'm just like 20. They're like, no, it's us. It's us.
There are like a bunch. There's a good one that was around the
I don't
corner
expect
from
an
where I
actual answer.
lived. You can go to that one. It's on.
Yeah, I don't expect
It's
an
on
actual answer
Bleecker.
for that one.
Yeah.
So is that like a coffee
it's-
shop or
Pizza.
Yeah,
pizza?
It's pizzeria, yeah.
Pizza.
But everyone says they're the famous original, or original famous. They
It all depends on the
sometimes
wording
switch the
and-
names. It's very cagey. In that,
So
in that city.
speaking of like like that would be a New York restaurant that's pretty common. What about for you since you've moved away? Do you miss like Tim Hortons?
Well, not really.
It's a safe place. It's a safe place. Go
I
ahead.
want to say yes. I used to work at Tim Hortons. It was one of my first jobs.
Wow.
Oh, me too.
Really? Yeah. I worked at the one on King Street. King and...
Woodstock
No.
Road.
Yeah, King and Regent.
Oh, that was when the King of Donaires was across the street, right?
Yes, but it was way before that. It was when people could still smoke in there.
Oh, wow.
So I was like a big smoke marshmallow absorbing all of the cigarettes.
Which your commercials now make more sense.
Exactly. I actually was
I get
addicted
it
to
now.
nicotine, but I didn't smoke. But yeah, so Tim Hortons, I mean, it's, I used to, the apple fritter, the Boston cream, the coffee, but I just can't eat any of that stuff anymore. So I don't really miss it. But you like Tim Hortons, Seth?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go there when I can.
Yep.
Is there any other Canadian franchises that you might kind of miss? Is there a place that you go when you come back to Fredericton and you think of, oh, I got to go to this place? Like,
Well,
Keep in mind, no one's paying us anything
Definitely
for this.
the Rogue. We've already been there twice since we've been back.
Nice.
The Rogue.
Yes.
We go
Love
there.
the Rogue.
Yep.
Very
We
good.
go there a lot, meet a lot of friends there and family. I don't know, where else?
Canadian places?
or Canadian
Well,
places or
more just
Fredericton
like
local
Frederictonian
places?
places. The Garrison District's really good.
Yeah, we've been there. We always go to the market. We'll go to the market tomorrow.
There's one on the
No,
north
the
side
market's
now,
great.
actually.
A market?
Yeah,
market
yeah,
on
they
the
just
north side,
opened.
yeah.
Really?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday they run.
Don't listen to the Dirty Northsider.
Hey.
And there's
I could say that I'm formerly a Northsider.
Outnumbered,
There's
buddy.
a vendor there. They do like all local foods. And
Oh, the Fresh Mobile Bistro.
Yeah, and they actually move around town during the week, so they'll be at different places and they'll tweet it out and things like that. And
It's our only food truck that we have.
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Love
it's
food
Fredericton's only mobile food truck.
Is that causing some conflict having two markets like that?
I think they, from what I've heard, they complement each other.
Yeah,
I
That
think they do.
people will actually leave, Boyce's? They'll leave Boyce's, which is only open during the morning, and then go to the north side.
And also Saturday only, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, the north side does not have the one place that I love from the south side one. It's this little German place that do these schnitzels on a bun.
Oh,
It's
those are so
Oh my
good.
God, the Hans the German is the just the best.
Yep.
So this is the typical tangents that we go on.
And this is how come Mark usually
Sausage on a
has.
bun. I got it.
He has about an hour that he has to condense to about 23 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm usually pretty good. You don't notice the cuts. Just as a cut, two things. If you guys are getting warm in there, feel free to open the window. There shouldn't be much traffic outside to really interfere. If you're getting warm in here,
I don't know. I see
I'm
the
fine.
truck,
just
but
let me
it's
know.
not
There's
on.
an air conditioner right there. I can
I'm
turn
totally
on.
fine. Thank you.
Sweetie, if you're getting warm in there, we're gonna.
Oh yeah, I had a question.
If you're getting hot in there, we're gonna talk about that later.
Well, she can't help it. I mean,
Well,
just being
or
that
to be
close to
fair,
Cabot,
Mark is
Yes.
a bit radioactive.
Yes.
all the
And-
gamma rays.
And also, in your defense, it could be something like this, like a peep show for her, where she's looking at you, through
Yeah.
glass.
She's
Yeah.
seen the Hamsa Boy in a whole new light.
Exactly.
see?
Exactly.
in a room
It's too
full
much.
of men.
If you
so-
squint
I
and
got your
close your
back.
eyes completely, it could be all of us could be part of that boy band.
That is very true.
Yeah, I can see the dancing. You got to come up with a
Actually,
quick.
you don't even have to
dance.
squint. We
Can we
pretty much
get
look
these
like bands
clips
here.
on the
No joke.
side,
There's
or is
a-
it just not
we are
work out
going
if it's
into
like
a weird area.
We talk.
There you go.
How's it going?
Tuck it into your headset, and you're all
I
set.
can't sing in Hebrew, but I can sha-la-la like nobody's business.
Yeah, you'll have to paint out that tat too, man. That's
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
ever
Yeah,
had
you
an
can't have
interview
chat.
go like
Hamsa
this
boys.
before?
No, but this is awesome.
Okay.
This is awesome.
I had a quick question for you.
Yes.
Can we look forward to maybe season 4, because you've already recorded all of season 3, hearing maybe you drop a New Brunswick style colloquialism
Perhaps give her.
on the show? Could you do that?
Could I do that? I can probably work one in.
That'd be cool. And then when we're all watching it, we're gonna all be like calling each other, like, dude, check it out.
And
of
of
course-
course, the request Mark has is that it be something
put words in
related
my
to
mouth.
him.
Of course.
I'll try. I'm either going to say
Oh, that's so Cabot.
something New Brunswick. I'll say CHSR or I'll say Epic.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe Epic will be
Epic,
the
that would work,
easiest
yeah.
one.
Sure.
But I'll find a way.
That's pretty.
Our
And if you
coffee
could-
mug in the background hiding someplace. That'd be hilarious. Not going to happen, but it'd be funny as hell.
I guess a not peanut gallery comment that I have to make is that I'm kind of curious about like when it comes to this whole theater acting thing, I'm probably equally curious about the writing end of things, not just the acting end of things, and where writer meets actor in terms of how the dialogue actually comes out.
Yeah.
So like, how much do you work with the writers to kind of flavor the character and the dialogue, or what kind of leeway do you have over little ad libs and things? I'm kind of curious.
Well, it really depends on what show you work on. On Lost Girl, we're very lucky because it's generally a pretty collaborative process. And so we have a read through every week, the day before we start filming the next episode, and we go through the episode and we mark our notes as actors. We have some leeway, but we try to honor what the writer is doing. If we have a newer writer on the show, their learning curve is to try to learn the voices of each character very quickly, which great writers can do. So sometimes we catch little things like that. I've been very lucky because I've worked with some great showrunners on the show. We had one in 3rd season, and she's coming back for 4th, who is very open to my input, which has been really nice. There's some shows where you're like below the line, and you do not talk to anyone above the line. I suppose writers are below the line too, but you say what's on the page.
Right.
I mean, your job as the actor is to make that work, and that's what we try to do. But sometimes it just doesn't work, and sometimes you don't know until you're doing it.
We're veering into the Lost Girl side of things, so while we're over on this side of the discussion, I'm going to ask you a few other questions. Do you find out about the script all in advance, as
No.
one big bundle, or episode by episode, and are they in sequence?
Well, 1st season we did not shoot in sequence,
Okay.
which was really confusing because we had a new show we're trying to establish. We don't know what that show is going to be yet. Our original pilot, which aired as episode 8 in season 1, I don't know if you guys knew that, but it aired as episode 8, was by far our darkest episode. We all look different. Bo has very little makeup. It's more gritty. It has a darker tone, and that was the original tone of the show. And then it was changed to have a little bit more humor and lightness in it, which I think was a really smart move on the part of our producers, because it just gave us more to play with. We couldn't really have that dark without the light. And so 1st season was about finding that balance. But because we were shooting out of order, Chris, who plays Dyson, we would just look at each other sometimes and be like, wait, do we like each other in this episode? What happened in the last one, which we haven't shot yet? And we would have a little notes from the writers, but it's nicer to get to live it. So in 2nd season and in 3rd, we shot everything in order, for the most part. I think 2nd season we shot episode 2 first, then episode 1, but that was okay. And to shoot in order is such a gift because you actually live it, you remember it, it becomes part of you. You have memories and you think, wait, did we actually live that, or did I read it, or but it's nice to have that. And so hopefully for season 4, we'll be doing things in order again.
Season 2, I think, is just coming out on DVD now, and I don't think it's out on. Is anything out on Netflix?
I don't know.
Not Canadian Netflix.
I don't think
Not
so.
US, not
That's
US
it.
Netflix.
And it was all on the Global app. Global was letting you see all seasons of Lost Girl, but as of last week, it's gone.
Oh.
And I don't know why. They cut a lot of their videos.
Yeah,
Showcase.ca.
showcase.
Oh, nice. Good.
While you're in Canada, you can't see it anywhere else in the world.
Awesome. Thank you.
I like to watch a few rough cuts. 1st season, I really watched a lot of dailies. It was kind of a mistake actually, but it was a good lesson because you don't want to start performing from outside yourself. You don't want to start looking, but it's nice to get a sense of the world you're in. That's one positive thing about watching rough cuts and dailies. Rough cuts look rough. I mean, from a rough cut to a finished product is night and day. So you have to watch a rough cut knowing that the sound levels are off, the color correction is off, the mixing of everything, everything. The Foley is not there. Everything is not there. So it doesn't feel like a television show yet until you see the final product, and the special effects aren't there. So it's me going to people and there's nothing happening.
I suppose it would probably look kind of odd.
It looks
without
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, in the interview I watched for the 3rd time today, it was the one with the whole panel from Comic-Con last year, I think it was, and there was yourself, there was Ksenia, there was Chris, one of the writers and director as well too, and you you made the comment about how in one episode how you chi sucked the entire room, and Chris looks at you. I was like, I'm so glad you said chi at the end of that sentence. And then you were talking about actually blocking out those scenes, how you're basically going through them really quick. And your whole action was just, I do this, and sucky.
Yeah.
I just.
That's what we do.
Oh,
and I guess it's in season 2 where she learns to blow chi as well.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between a suck and a blow.
Yes.
And,
Exactly.
It sounds different. It's performed differently. It's recorded differently, and that was always fun talk on set too.
I think I broke Mark. Hey, buddy.
We're all thinking it. We're not saying it.
Look
But
how
this is
red his
this
face
is what we do. This is how we talk on set. It's like,
Mark,
so I'm
but
sucking
the
and then I'm
thing is-
blowing.
But so I said this completely in context.
I know.
Completely.
Exactly how it was said.
And it counts for artistic context as well.
Absolutely.
So going back to your journey, which we
So you're saying back on point.
Back to the journey.
has there ever been any really crushing moments that obviously you've made it. I mean, you kind of exploded in popularity, especially in the geek crowd with Lost Girl and everything. But has there ever been any moments on your career path that you've just kind of had a really rough time of it?
Yeah, I mean, I moved to Toronto in 1999 to start trying to pursue acting. And it takes a long time. I was a bit older than most of the girls I was reading against. They had long resumes. I had no resume. There was just so many challenges in the beginning, and I knew I wanted to do this, and I really loved it. And that's like when young actors ask me for advice, I just always say, make sure you love it, because you have to love it. It has to come from the love of something, because you don't get back what you put in the beginning. You just don't. Because you put everything in, and you get zero back. You get a big fat bunch of nothing back. But eventually you start to get some things back. And so crushing moments, I mean, when I booked Lost Girl, I was the girl that got the part. For 10 years before that, I was the other girl that didn't get the part. Or I was just someone who didn't even get brought in for the audition, know. And then later on, I was always that other girl that didn't get the part. But that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in that realm of people that were getting close. But close is not there, So it is crushing. It's always crushing. And there's definitely times when I thought, do I want to keep doing this? Like, what if this is it forever? I thought, well, I love it. If this is it forever, then I've already made my choice. I definitely didn't want to waitress and bartend forever, which is what I did for about 8 years. And when it was done, I was so glad. It was a great job because it paid bills and stuff. But when I started earning a living as an actor, that's when I really felt like things turned around. And then I moved to LA. And if for all Canadian actors out there, the second you move to LA, you are so desirable in Canada, it's not even funny. So, LA was a really good move for me for many reasons. I met my husband there, and I got to read for really different things. Sitcoms. We just didn't have that here in Canada, not the same way. So suddenly I was going on to big studio lots and screen testing, and guys would show up with secure vehicles and suitcases with your contract. I mean, it was big, serious stuff. And it was exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we do have that big secured vehicle, the Epic vehicle outside for you.
Excellent.
Right.
That's what's making that banging.
Yeah.
It just pulled away.
Did you forget to lock the doors again?
Is it getting towed? Is the Epic vehicle getting towed again?
I believe it's called a taxi cab.
Actually, I kind of had a sort of follow-up question that kind of goes with the whole going to LA and thing, but more relation to with the series. It originally aired on Showcase,
Yes.
and just recently was picked up on SyFy. Do you find that has that opened up more opportunities for you, or you find that you're being recognized more, or getting more callbacks?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when it started on Showcase, none of us knew how it was going to do, and it did really well, and it continued to do well. Then it started being seen internationally, whether people were getting it legally or illegally. I think it was mostly illegally, but people were watching. People were dubbing it into different languages for their country. I mean, it was a big deal. And so we didn't know if we were going to get a U.S. pickup, but as successful as we were in Canada, we knew a U.S. pickup would change the game for us a little bit because it just gives you so much more exposure. And SyFy is a big network. And so that was a really great turning point for the show and for me and for all of us, really, that, suddenly we were on SyFy. We were being promoted like crazy. And it was no longer like, we'd go to Comic-Con. It wasn't just sort of like, yay. It was like people losing their minds because they've invested so much in the show. And that's such a nice feeling that people are watching something and it means something to them. So definitely SyFy did change things for us in a big way. But, so did Showcase, really.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your part on Being Erica?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I did 3 episodes of Being Erica, and I was living in LA at the time. And I was still putting myself on tape for auditions in Canada, which is the same thing I did with Lost Girl. And Seth was my reader for almost all of them.
You're welcome.
Thank you. He's an excellent reader if anyone ever needs. So, Being Erica was another part I put myself on tape for, and they just booked me from tape. Usually you have a callback or they want you to do another tape with a slight adjustment. They want to make you jump through some hoops. They want to see what kind of direction you can take. But they liked it, and they just booked me from tape. So I flew up to Toronto. I met Aaron Karpluk for the first time. I met everyone there actually for the first time, and the part was written so well. Especially that first episode was such a real relationship, and Aaron's so great to work with. So I was really lucky, and I had a great time.
Quick question. Your co-star's name, is it Ksenia or is it Kenya?
Ksenia.
Ksenia, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to make sure you get that right.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Can I ask a question about your co-star, by the way?
Sure.
Are those contacts, or are her eyes really that pale?
They're that pale.
They are freaky. They're awesome. But every time I watch her, I'm like, is she wearing contacts?
See, that's what I thought too. Well, I'm like, there's no way those are natural.
But she's
Wow,
playing the
okay,
human,
cool.
right? So why would she?
Yeah.
They're wild. They're really nice.
they're very beautiful.
I thought they were contacts because it kind of went with her style. She was a little bit, she had that kind of eccentric
maybe she
style
does
to
have
her.
contacts. She's never told me. But I don't think
Normally
they're
got brown eyes.
Her eyes are very electrifying. They stand right out whenever you're looking at it. If your time wasn't so taxed and you could guest role on any other show that's on television right now, what would it be?
Oh, well, right now in this very moment, I would pick Homeland. I don't know if any of you guys watch it, but I'd want to come in and interrogate Brody. That's what I'd want to do. Just one big scene, interrogation, Brody, done. That would be really cool.
So if the producers of Homeland is listening to the show, and I know you are,
Because we are that
get
popular.
in touch.
Yeah, so they're one of the 5 people listen? That's awesome.
We're an industry-known podcast and radio show. Thank you very much.
Yes, we are.
Did that
Actually,
sound
our numbers
convincing?
are quite good.
Pretty good, not bad.
Up to 40 likes on Facebook.
50.
Are you guys on Twitter?
We are, yeah.
Individually.
And I think we all follow you.
Yes, we all follow you.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Well,
But you
I
might not see us in the 28,000
most.
followers that you have.
Yeah.
But maybe I can tweet about the show.
That would be
Well, I'll
freaking
tweet about
awesome.
it, but you have to help me with Twitter names.
Oh, and I'm
Oh,
now
yeah.
following you as well, too.
You are?
Yes.
Oh, thanks, man.
I'm one of your 809, I think.
I'm almost at 900. I'm at like 887.
We're
I'm not
getting there.
counting.
Well, I mean, borrow some from her, right? You're set to go.
Yeah, I try to leech off of her.
She's trying to cite the number.
Come on.
But you know what? On that vein, it must be impossible to really. Your Twitter feed must be just constantly scrolling down. I mean, with 28,000.
It
Wait,
is.
I suppose. How many do you follow? That's how it works, right?
You follow maybe 50.
Well, it's people.
Yeah.
It is also people who message you. Those are the ones you see.
Yeah. Or if you
I
have your
have
name
really
in
nice
it.
Yeah.
tweets from fans.
What's
They're
her name?
always
Sorry.
nice, writing nice things, and it's just encouraging. I will follow you.
Yes.
I remember when you signed up. I sort of forced you to sign up. I was like, sweet,
I was
it's for
not.
your career.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
You
don't
gotta
have the
do
blue
this.
check mark next to your name.
Oh, that's a whole
It's
other
a whole thing.
Yeah.
whole other issue.
Was it the verified?
Not as
Yes. What's
easy to
verified?
get as you would think.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
suppose if it was easy to get, it wouldn't be worth much, right?
Yeah. It's in the works.
So is
Look
that
out for
something you
it.
have to pay for? Or is that like
No.
just
No.
you have to show up at their offices?
No,
Hold up your
it's-
phone.
It's very mysterious, actually.
It is.
Last I saw, I believe it took Jackie Chan like a year and a half to 2 years to get verified. And yes, and there was somebody, I can't remember who, it was an actress who had people who were verified taking pictures with her putting it on our
we
Twitter
just saw
feed
that.
saying, "This is
Gasser?
us." Yeah.
Yeah.
We just saw that.
And it was very difficult, and Twitter was not recognizing it. But it's one of these things that they don't really release how they decide it. So I don't know. Get big Twitter people to tweet about you
It
and
really
say it's
depends
you,
on
and it might work.
Who your people are.
So if you could get Will Wheaton to start talking about you, you're
Or
set.
Nathan Fillion, he's Canadian, you know.
Yeah.
Nathan
Or sure enough,
Fillion.
Nate, yeah.
I've been secretly curious about the red tape associated with celebrity tweeting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Like sometimes I wonder if it's being tweeted by the person, because sometimes as a celebrity, it's not just a person; it's a product as well. But that,
Well,
that
I will
sounds
tell you that a
callous to
lot
say.
of celebrities don't do their own tweeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Many do.
You do.
Or they do some. I do my own. There was a couple times Seth tweeted for me in the beginning because I was learning Twitter. I'll admit it.
It was a
I
process
was
to
learning
get her on.
Twitter, and he was helping. So but he would phone me on set, and he'd say, "Let's tweet something." I'd be okay. So I'd decide what to tweet. He would type it. So I was really still tweeting.
He was your assistant.
He was my
was
assistant
his
tweeter, and now, but now I know
This sounds
it.
a lot like backpedaling.
But now I got it down.
That's
so
one
I
of the one of the levels. I think that you know you've made it to a certain point when you have people doing your Twitter for you.
My
I think
people will
though,
tweet
and
your
once
people.
it's
Yeah.
you know
your
when-
husband doing your Twitter is just as personal as it comes from you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But he doesn't do it anymore.
No, I
Which
don't.
is-
That's good because I don't follow people that have people tweet for them. So
No.
now I
Yeah,
can
no, it's
follow
annoying.
you.
How would you even know that?
How do you find that out?
You can tell. A lot of times it's easy to tell.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
is.
I am currently on set recording. Like, really? Are you really currently on set with your cell phone? tweeting
Some of them
this?
do actually.
they have
There
these-
was
Well-
you
They have
see
these
some of the
services
blooper-
now too, where you can sign up for it and it logs into your account. It's totally
Yep.
computerized.
Really?
And you can select like different genres of stuff that it will pick. So like if you want to, Gandhi sayings, right? You just select that and you tell it every hour or every 3 times a week, and it'll just naturally just kind of insert
Yeah.
these things into your tweet.
Is that
I
where
think
all your
if
tweets
people
come
are
from?
Very
tweeting
weird.
things like, "I need a new book to read. What do you recommend?"
Mass
Things like that.
produced tweets.
Yeah,
I don't
I've-
think
I've-
that's really from them. I don't know.
Yeah, well, to be honest, there's certain tweets like Twitter feeds that I've stopped following because they just tweet about everything.
I think you and I are
I'm
talking about the
eating
same one,
bacon
buddy.
and eggs right now for breakfast. Like, come on. I actually came across a realization that struck me last night and kind of gave me a bit of a panic attack, and that's that it was a outside possibility that I was never talking to you online, and that there was just somebody posing as
And screw with you the whole time.
me the whole time, because I got in touch
That
with
would have
your
been
agent,
hilarious.
and if I would have got
Really?
let's say I got in touch with your agent with this mysterious email that I sent to, and they responded, but it was just some guy saying, "Hey, let's screw with this guy," and then it'd be easy to like sign up for a Twitter account or something like that, or an email address that.
There actually is another Anna Silk on Twitter.
Which you followed by accident at first.
Which the first time Mark tried to follow you, followed the wrong
Yes,
Anna
I followed
Silk.
the wrong one. There is a
is.
double.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering about the check mark.
But isn't
Yes.
it some Russian woman who's only tweeted like 4 things?
Oh yeah, it
that's the
has.
one-
Yeah, that's why I was surprised.
that's
I'm
the one
like,
I found.
she doesn't look at all like she does on the show.
Oh, is it somebody with the same name?
Yeah,
Yes.
exact
Oh,
same
okay.
name.
Yes, short
Person.
blonde hair, look nothing like you whatsoever.
Yeah, that's
No.
her. That's her.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
She tweeted twice in 2008 or something. That's ridiculous.
And,
She's gonna get a lot
I'm a
more
little better
followers
with
now.
Twitter.
Yeah, I
than
should probably
that.
a few more now.
Yeah, but it did dawn on me last night, and I just, what if 2:00 comes tomorrow, nobody shows up, and I just get an email that said, "Fooled you."
Jackass. Like,
I
oh.
was very relieved when I saw you.
No,
you walking into the
I'm
entrance.
thrilled to come here because, for many reasons, obviously, I was saying to Mark before we went live that I don't think I've ever experienced someone who's dealt with me in such a professional way. The way he approached my agents,
Yeah,
the
yes.
emails, the way that
Biggest Crown Cabot.
I'm telling you, I was way more shocked than this.
And to
really?
be fair, who gave you the idea?
That was Ryan Young. I'm going to say his name on the
Yes,
air.
one of our very good
One
friends.
of our
Ryan
very
Young.
good friends.
Yes.
Because we were talking.
Oh, he wanted us to try to get you to sign something too.
for sure.
We'll cover that later.
Yeah,
Whoa,
we'll
whoa,
cover
find
that
out
later.
what it is first before you agree to it.
He didn't specify, so
I'll sign
we'll have-
almost anything.
We'll have to think of something
Almost.
clever.
Almost. Who brought a Sharpie? Anybody?
All right, before we start going down this evil path, he there's just one day I was sitting at work, and we had a discussion the night before everybody's over at my place. We were just kind of snowballing about who we would want to have on the show, and we went through this list of people, and your name came up. And your name was on the. There was like mostly it was podcasters, fellow podcaster Lindsay Ellis, the Nostalgia Critic, people like that.
Yeah.
And then we got into like really dreaming and saying, well, what about these stars like Will Wheaton or Anna Silk or something like that? And we're just like, oh, it's nice to dream.
It's like not gonna happen. Beverages might have been involved.
They were heavily.
That's good. No, that's always good. I'm so happy to always do anything for almost anyone in Fredericton. You know, I really think that I've had nothing but support here every time I come home, and people are so excited about the show, and I can't really thank people enough for that. So when someone from Fredericton approaches me, I'm usually pretty game to do something. But you were pretty amazing with your emails, and you're
Really?
keeping me informed and all. You were just really great.
I kept her.
I told you
informed
that,
with
Seth.
Yeah,
everything.
you've mentioned
Yeah.
A
So I know. So
long,
as Mark was saying though
long
too. So
email.
basically, here we are just spitballing ideas, and I think you were just going to email or basically Facebook or Twitter.
I was
to
in
her.
No, it wasn't. It was
A fan page, I think, wasn't it?
I tweeted you, but then I looked at you have thousands of followers, so you never
Yeah.
even see my tweet. And then Ryan found your agent's email through some kind of listing, and he just sent it to me. He said, "What the heck? Go for it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?" And I said, "Well, the worst that could happen is they say no, and that's not that bad." So I sent out the email, and then I got a response. And I didn't look at the response. I was so certain it was a no, a polite no, like the typical form letter.
The PFO letter.
Yes.
Yes,
I was about to say,
yes.
if the email subject is PFO, then you would.
That's an acronym.
I'm sure they're aware of
For
that.
our listeners.
For the listeners,
BT
since-
Dubs.
Since we're
PFO.
not allowed to say those words on the radio.
I'll cut it out. The PFO is the please f off letter, which we've seen before. And about 3 days went by, and I opened it. I figured, okay. And there on the email was like, I'll pass it along, or something along that lines. And I'm just like, whoa! Anna Silk's going to actually hear my request. That's pretty cool in itself. So I'll get the no from her, which is really awesome. And then I got a yes.
It printed off, frame it on the wall. No,
I'm going to be rejected by a celebrity.
It'll just be a return with an attached picture of her flipping you the burger.
If it was autographed, it'd be awesome.
Or Seth just going, no, sorry, dude.
Yeah.
And it evolved for those of you who are our longtime listeners who have been following this. It evolved from a telephone interview, which was going to happen. Which at first it was me talking to your agent, then me talking to you, which was really great. And then there was going to be a telephone interview. And then you said you were actually going to be in town and you drop by the studio and do it in person, which was great. And then you said you'd bring your husband along too, which is even better, which is, I mean, if my mind could literally be blown out of my skull, it'd be all over this room right now.
Was it chi blown?
She blown, yes.
It'd be chi blown in with the milkshake that's in the mixing board.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, from our perspective, thank you very much for coming into the studio.
Yes.
Because we tried to kind of mock up the phone interview, and the feedback we were getting on this
It's
old equipment in
horrible.
here was just
It's awful.
Oh, really?
insane.
Yeah.
This is the
It's
telephone
always
hybrid
better
right
to
there.
do things in person. I mean, I do tons of phone interviews close to air dates and stuff of the show because people are calling me from all over. And that's great, but it's always nicer to meet people in person. And They get to see you and what you're really like, and you get to see what they look like, and it's nice.
And you are pretty awesome, I have to say.
Thank you. You guys are pretty awesome.
I'm having a lot of fun.
All of you.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the questions.
Oh, right. We got stuff to read, don't we?
Oh, yeah, that's true. This is an interview, isn't it?
Just one quick thing, by the way. We can do the phone stuff. You just need to do it in a different studio.
Yeah.
Anyway.
For future interviews.
Yes.
Follow-up phoners.
Which, if you can hook us up with anybody,
For sure.
The reason why I wanted to have it in this setting, kind of with other people, I don't know how well that would have worked on the phone, but we were willing to give it a try. Whereas Studio B, you can only have up to one more person in there.
Okay.
And that's it, along with the telephone. Whereas here, I find this is far better.
But we can do people in A and people in B.
I'm getting schooled. I'm the technical
Sorry.
director here. I'm getting schooled on the technical direction of the studio by Reed right now.
It's just because you're focused on this side, and
Okay.
I've done the strange encounters at the other side.
You've emasculated me enough. It's okay. All right.
No intention there at all. I'm sorry. I'm so harsh.
I know. We still love you, though. Well, I forgot where I was on this.
we were going back to the notes.
Can you tell us about, we've talked about your kind of low points in your career, but are there any high points that stand out to you even today?
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends how you measure high points. You know, when I first moved to Toronto, the first week I got involved in an acting class and started waitressing, that was a high point because I was doing exactly what I wanted to do. I was taking classes and I was waitressing, and here I was going to do it. But then, it kind of got crushed from there. But then it picked up. And I think, definitely the Nicoderm commercial I did was a high point because I had done other commercials for a few years. And the audition process for that was kind of a high point because I walked in, you walk in, you sign in, you pick up the script, and I thought, oh, wow, this is actually a good script. Like, this is actually, like, funny, and it's a good 30-second script. And I looked around, and the room was packed with all of the, Toronto's finest comedians. And I just thought, well, whoever gets this is really lucky because it's going to be good. And so, I had a callback. Then I had another callback at, like, 7:30 in the morning or something. And they kept me in there forever, screaming and yelling and flying around the room for like 2 hours. Then finally gave me the part. And it was just fun because I knew it was going to be a good commercial. I didn't know it was going to be quite so popular.
Very popular in Canada.
Yeah, it was. But I knew it was going to be good and fun. So that was kind of a high point for me.
There are people in our families that we've spoken to about you, that you're coming on the show. Anna Silk, who's Anna Silk? Lost Girl. Nicoderm commercial. Oh, I know exactly who that is.
Yeah.
There's actually, okay, my mom, who is a very, how can I say it, conservative, religious woman. I thought this was very strange. I told her that you were going to be coming on the show, Anna Silk, and she goes, oh, that's good. Very nice, sweetie. And then at home one day, she came to visit me, and Lost Girl was on the queue on the TV, and pushed play and started watching it. And she goes, oh, this show. I love this show. And I'm thinking, because let's face it, the content is a little risque.
Yes.
And then my mom, I'm like, no, you're thinking of something else, Mom. This is not the show that you like. Can't be. He goes, no, this is the one where she's a succubus and she's the light fae, the dark fae, and all this stuff like that. And she has a man friend and a lady friend, and she went through the whole thing. And I'm just thinking, oh my god.
The audience for Lost Girl is it's a very broad audience. I get people that come up and say, like, my grandfather loves this show. We watch this show with our kids. And I was like, how old are your kids? Or we watch it as a family. My grandmother loves it. It just people. I can't paint a picture of a Lost Girl fan because they're everywhere and they're all different.
Yeah. We've been watching it since my daughter was born. This is when we started watching it.
Right.
When she was born, my wife, my fiance, was home on mat leave. It was right around the time we started watching it. So we always used to watch it with the baby in the room. Never a big deal. She's really young. And then around 3-4 months ago, we were watching it, and one of the rather steamy scenes came up, and she was playing and she stopped, and she just started staring.
Just turn the clip the other way.
Uh-oh. All right. Time for private viewings from now on, and we took her out of the room.
Right. Yeah, I think when she starts to watch that.
Yeah.
But she recognized you. We show her a picture, and she'll point, and she'll say, Bo. And she only says a few words.
That's so cute. That's very cute.
But it's fun when the kids are starting to get of the age to start noticing things. And,
yes, that's where CC is right now for sure.
Yeah, especially when the vocabulary starts coming and they're like discovering new things, and you get all sorts of hilarious memories that you're going to rub in when they get older.
Yeah.
So, do you have a process that you go through when you're going into slipping into the character of Bo?
Well, for Bo specifically, I was very lucky in some ways. I mean, it has been a gift to play a character that she got to kind of learn, and I got to learn along with her. She starts out completely new in this world, in the Fae world. She doesn't know who she is, finds out she's Fae, boom, she only can grow from there. And me as the actor really could just kind of grow from there too. So I got to kind of start out making it okay to be vulnerable and scared, because that's generally how I, if someone says, what's your process? I usually say, well, it's usually fear, panic, self-loathing. I'm not going to be able to do this. Oh my God. Then I start to do some more productive work. But yeah, I was afraid in the beginning taking on this role and taking on this project, and so was Bo. So I kind of I got very lucky in that way that I kind of got to make that one in the same. There's definitely parts of Bo that are not like me at all, but so I don't know. For Bo, the process has been pretty organic. Pretty much just riding the wave as it comes.
Hypothetical situation here.
Okay.
We may want to draw on this because we haven't actually recorded our skit yet.
Yes. Is someone taking notes, by the way? Anybody? Joel, got a pen?
Got it.
Sweet. Okay.
No,
good.
this isn't for us. This is for some friends that we know.
Oh, yeah. It just
Friend of a friend.
It happened to a friend of mine.
Okay. Yes.
If you were to sit in a room full of people who all like to record 1-minute sketches before their radio show. This is not us.
No.
We're cool. But none of them, they had the collective acting capacity of a ham sandwich, let's say.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Would you be able to give them any advice?
I think I would. I think I would advise them. I would
Pack it up, go
advise
home.
them the same way that I advise anyone who's never done a love scene before.
Am I going to have to kiss Joel again?
No, it doesn't have to be any kissing or touching.
Andy, pucker up.
But we had an actress on our show who would come onto the show, and she was going to be doing a love scene. She'd never done one, and she said, "What you do so many. What do you advise?" And I'm like, "Great." But all you can do is just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't think about it. You got to make it. You got to make it real, but go for it. Don't pull back. So I would advise the same thing for when you just go for your sketches. Hey,
Just
you
go
guys
for
have
it.
cutting tools here. You can
That's
edit
true.
it out. That's the great thing about television too. I mean, you can take little risks.
Yeah. If you were to ever hear the raw, the raw audio of our sketches, it's
Yeah.
That's really good advice, by
The
the way.
sketches
Yeah.
for us is usually the longest part of the recording process. We sat down, we had the booth here for about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
And we didn't come up with anything.
An hour and a half into it, we realized we just finished a sketch. And so we had half hour to do the show.
The whole show.
And that's it.
Seth,
Yeah.
are there any embarrassing or just embarrassing or funny stories you could tell us about Anna? Or vice versa. I mean, Anna, you could.
She can't. She's not within striking distance. You're all good, handsome boy.
Yeah, he's going home with it, though.
We're reasonably certain that this glass between us is bulletproof.
Yeah. And Anna does shoot guns. You have.
Not really. Not on Lost Girl, have I? Oh, I have.
You
I
have.
Yes, I have. That's true.
Yeah. Something embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
Or funny. It doesn't have to be.
We don't want to get you in trouble.
I don't know. Everything I can.
Some of us don't
I
wanna
can think
do
of so many embarrassing things, but she would kill me.
There's a
Okay, well,
lock
let's first
right
then.
over on that door there. There's a lock.
Yeah, I would say
We can live in here.
embarrassing up to a point because once again, family show.
Yeah. No, you don't want to hear about all the crazy things or smelly things.
The look on her
I meant my
face.
smelly things.
know.
I meant mine.
for Ray.
Okay, all right.
An adjective I wasn't expecting to hear.
Yes.
It's always mine.
It's ours now. You're married. Ours.
but more mine. I
Yes.
don't know.
You have
We always do stuff. We always do stuff. Everything, almost everything together. Like we're always.
We do. Seth and I, this is going to make us sound really boring and lame, but I often compare us to two house cats because we curl up together, we eat together, we take naps. Sometimes we fight a little, then we make up and we curl up.
Sometimes
Sometimes
we liken ourselves to like crackheads. Where
or crackheads
Like,
because
where we're
sometimes
like-
those cats
we'll
will
be
stay in
the
their
house and
pajamas
we'll be
for
2
3
days
days.
later, we're still in our pajamas. Like
I like the cats. one.
We're
Yeah, I think-
sweeter, right?
Sweeter.
We're
Yeah.
in the studio
It's
with two
sweeter.
kitty crackheads.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just got the image now of you guys chasing a laser pointer around.
It is good
It's
exercise.
actually really fun.
He's got a laser pointer.
But
And
we,
unfortunately, I have seen a train spotting, so I know it's heroin, but still, I'm getting some ideas here, and it's not a good place to be.
no, but this is when we have a bit of downtime.
We did that.
It's not like this
recently
every day.
when we traveled together. That was pretty embarrassing for both of us with the cats.
Oh, that was awful.
That was an awful. I mean,
Yeah.
we were the short of it is we're running late and
Well, you can't really tell this story short, but yeah, we
cut it down.
we
but-
had to move all of our stuff from Toronto to Los Angeles because we were moving out of the apartment that we had in Toronto. We're going to get another apartment when we go back for season 4. So we had to get all of our stuff, including 3 cats. And we were running late. It's just, it was
like,
one
we weren't
disaster.
Even checked. It was an hour before the flight takes off. We were not checked in yet.
It's an
Like,
international flight. This is
luckily we
not
got our-
typically how we travel. We're
Luckily,
pretty
we got our
organized.
bags checked in. Although one of the 3 people that helped us was very mean.
But it's an airport. I think they require
Yeah.
a
Yeah, I
certain
guess.
percentage.
But
anyway, the
of workers,
climax
the
of us getting there, getting through customs where I'm always given a hard time and we're sweating, and then we get through customs and it's 5 after from when the flight has taken off. So we thought, well, we've missed our flight. We've got 3 cats in cages. Our friend is traveling with us. What the hell? I mean, like at that point, you just kind of give up.
You give up.
We go to security and then we asked an Air Canada woman, you know.
And she's like, your flight's leaving 25 minutes late. You can still make it.
So that was like when we all looked at each other and we're like, this is on.
It's on.
And that's when we kind of burst through security, and people were so kind to us. They're like, "Oh, we know you're in a rush. Go ahead, please, please. It's fine." We're like, "Oh, thank
They
you
were
so
so
much."
nice.
And then normally we
Big
take our
smiles on their
cats
face, so happy to help us.
into secondary security because one of them turns demonic when she's afraid, and it's just easier.
I have to use welding gloves to pick her up. Like
Yeah.
she goes crazy.
But we didn't have time, so we
Yeah.
had to take them out of the cage at security, walk through security with them. Their cages go through the, the belty thing, whatever it's called, the
So
scanner.
just imagine how freaked out a cat is in the middle of a huge airport with everyone around.
So we have
like,
all these people watching,
in
like,
their
ooh,
arms.
the first cat. The first cat comes out. She's in a little ball, and we get her back in the cage. Ooh, the second cat. The second cat comes out. She gets in the. Then Seth puts on the welding gloves, and everyone's like, ooh. And I was sort of like,
What's gonna
don't
happen?
worry.
And everyone's still like
Yeah,
cheery.
I'm like, she's gonna scream. It's gonna sound like a human, and it's gonna sound awful. But she's really
she's
fine,
really
and she's
fine.
very sweet. And they're like, ooh, ah. Then I'm looking at their faces, and Seth picks her up and
I
holding
take her out
her
of the cage. She's screaming her head off, and everyone's faces just go pale and drop.
and drop.
And I'm like, oh, seriously, guys? She's just screaming. She's totally fine. And I walk her through, and I put her in the cage. And as I come back, now I realize why their faces dropped, because she had pooped everywhere.
This is the worst story, by the way.
Projectile
She had
poop just
projectile
shot out of
diarrhea
her.
everywhere,
And
all
then
over
I
the
saw
airport.
it, and Anna was still gathering stuff, and I'm like, sweetie, no. And she backs up and steps in some poop, and then the guy's like, you're going to have to clean that up. And I'm like, and I'm smearing poop all over the floor.
Look, this does not paint us in a very good light, and I can't believe we're sharing this story. But it was one of the times when I was
mutually
like, if
embarrassing.
anyone here watches Lost Girl, I'm in so much trouble.
Did you make the plane?
We made the plane.
We made
Yay!
Awesome.
Happy ending.
So it's a good
The
story.
plane.
You get a change of
Yeah.
clothes.
Here's the question. Yeah, did you
did not-
did you
it only got my
smell
arm,
when you were on the
not gonna
plane?
lie. Got on my
Because
arm.
Well, as soon as we got to the gate, we were like,
It
God,
still
what is that
smells.
smell? And Seth's arm, and so I had baby wipes, and I was taking them
oh,
off.
you were
Yeah.
lucky then. 'cause
Yeah.
That would have been a
we-
punishment for the other passengers.
It would have. It
Yeah,
would have been
the
awful. Look,
clothes,
we're
didn't
very
get any clothes or
respectful.
anything.
Usually, this was not a respectful day for us. But
However, you could have really played it off when you get inside and people are like, "What happens?" Like, "Oh, it's the security checkpoint. They're really, really hard there."
Just so you realize, traveling on a plane with a cat is like probably in my top 10 list of biggest fears.
It's not
so I applaud you for even being able to do it, because I have a hard enough time putting cats into their carriers. They don't like it
no, they
at
don't.
all.
What is that?
I don't know.
Motorcycle.
I don't
It looks
know,
like the
but I
Epic
think we're
Mobile is
being. No, I think their Epic Cycles have decided to descend upon us.
Was that embarrassing enough for both
I think the
of us?
change.
Yeah,
That's
I think it counts. That
was
works.
more than
That works.
expected, Yes.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Those points.
I did not expect getting pooped all over by
What?
a cat.
Yeah, it was
the cat's
not our
name.
finest.
Yes.
I don't think they
Good
expected
cat's
it
name,
either.
I wanna
No, they
know.
did not. No,
It's,
If the cat's name is Squirts, that would just be awesome.
I'm cutting
It's
it.
actually Rosie.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
So the lesson is, celebrities are human beings too. And
right.
things happen.
It's like those Us Weeklies where they're like, they're just like us. You ever
Yeah.
see the Us
Their
Weeklies?
cats shit all over the airport.
And then people read that. That's never happened to me.
I love it.
What about geeky facts? I mean, we the listeners of Epic are mostly geeks. Let's face it, nerds. We're proud
Nerds,
of
yeah.
ourselves.
Not the bites the heads off chicken geeks.
No.
Is there
Well,
any,
that one guy.
That's the
I mean,
actual
is that-
definition if you look at
I
it.
already know that
Yeah.
Seth knows what
Or
a
the
proxy
original.
server is, which I thought was pretty cool. Is there anything geeky about you guys that you could share?
I honestly, I'm trying to think of what's not geeky about us.
Well, you're on Twitter. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter. I'm not very technologically geeky. Seth is,
I am.
for sure.
Yeah. I used to do IT work, like some of you guys.
Oh, there we
Cool.
go.
Yeah, it's fine.
We have a home entertainment system that I can't actually use because Seth put it together with 3 different computers, and I call it the flux capacitor.
Is it
Nice.
And it's
So
one
you
of-
get points just for having that reference.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
It's like one of those things where lightning actually has to strike every morning, too.
and his hair goes really big. And
So it's like
Yeah.
XBMC, right?
Yeah, I run a Linux server and then.
Yep, same here.
Yeah.
Downstairs in the
Yeah.
basement, there's a Linux server running.
I
so
got mine on an
he
Apple
kind
TV.
of takes care of that portion of our
I do, but
geekiness in the family.
But there's like several types of geeks. There's geeks that like go out and rush out and buy the newest gadget and the newest things. And the only reason like it's a self-built computer and this crappy TV is because I'm not that geek. I'm the geek who waits and keeps waiting and keeps waiting for the next best thing. So now it's this hodgepodge, ugly entertainment system.
We don't go out and buy the next best thing just because we can't afford it.
That would be us, yes.
Once upon a time you could do that, but nowadays there's just a new thing every single day, so you can't really stay on top of it.
Yeah.
But I think we are the kind of people who like to Frankenstein our own machines together in our basements.
My BlackBerry actually is amalgamated out of a couple.
Wow.
So, yeah.
There you go.
Very good.
And Joel and I make backscatter tomography machines.
There you go. That's cool. That's on the same level too.
My BlackBerry's still from 2007, so I'm still waiting.
Well, I do the support for BlackBerries where I work, so I kind of can collect broken ones, and because the fun thing about BlackBerries is they're all modular. All the different
So you
pieces.
have a Frankenberry?
I have a Frankenberry. Yes.
Oh, okay. So quick fire questions: iPhone, Android, or BlackBerry?
BlackBerry.
BlackBerry.
I have a BlackBerry now. I'm waiting for the unlocked iPhone to be available. I know it's available in Canada. It's not available in the US. Once it is, I'm going to get an iPhone.
And I have the latest BlackBerry, and I love it.
And Anna, in that case, I think that RIM might want to talk to you about doing some promo spots because they need
Yes.
some help.
They do need some help, but I love it.
Okay. Mac or PC?
Or Linux.
Or Linux. I think you're kind of a Linux guy, aren't you?
Linux for the server, for the file sharing, but
For the workhorse stuff,
we're-
right?
Yeah, it's pretty good. When the computer itself starts up, it's hardware problems, but
And I'm definitely a Mac girl.
yeah, and I have a Mac. Yeah, the rest of the stuff is Mac.
Joel's a Mac guy.
So am I.
Oh yeah, you are too.
I even have an Apple
What?
TV.
So many
But
traitors.
you use a BlackBerry.
I'm an
it's
artist.
a work phone.
Oh, so you're
So I'm a Mac girl, but I'm not a shiny new Apple product girl.
Right.
Star Trek or Star Wars? This is about the geekiest question I've ever asked.
I think Star Wars, but that's really because I'm not that familiar with Star Trek. Although I used to have an agent in Montreal, and when I would travel there for auditions, I became part of his family. His mom would cook me dinner, we'd watch TV, and we'd always watch Star Trek. And the way that he would explain it, I kind of got into it, but I'd only watch it in Montreal.
which series did you watch while you were there?
I have no idea. I have no
Probably, okay.
idea.
Describe
But
the
I'm more
costumes.
familiar with Star Wars. And
Well,
Okay.
what year was it? Because we could probably narrow down the series.
That's kind of sad.
We don't need to go there.
I
don't
think they
think
were
we need to go.
reruns. I have no idea.
Yeah, I suppose reruns. might
Yeah,
be.
it was pretty old.
That throws it off.
Either way, with Star Trek
Was
in
there-
Montreal, so Shatner was happy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Did it have Shatner in it? Because that would be the original series.
think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to ask Mike.
Was there a guy in a red shirt that died every episode?
Can you tell us about you and your husband, about how you guys met, how your relationship progressed?
Yes. Well, we met in an acting class at the Stella Adler Theater in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
And
we had both just moved there a couple
Yeah.
weeks earlier. Separately, we didn't know each other.
and
I was sitting in class, and I walked in,
Yeah.
and I was like, "That is why I moved to LA."
Aw.
That's the
awesome.
story. Now, I didn't have the same moment only because I was in a different place in my life.
And you
I-
didn't
No,
see me right away. You must have been looking
see
elsewhere.
You can be honest. You were just so starstruck by seeing the boy band Jewish
Yeah, I
singer.
was.
Yeah.
I was like, is that the guy from Hamza Boys? Because, oh my gosh.
Yeah. After I signed her boob, we became friends. For years.
And the rest is history.
But actually, Seth wrote me. There was another Seth in that class who was an odd man. Very odd. And so I got an email suddenly from this guy named Seth asking me for coffee. And I sort of said, I was trying to figure out which Seth it was.
But
I didn't want to end up.
You were so sweet and so Canadian because you were like, "Of course I'll go for coffee." Which Seth is this? And I'm like, I love how you agreed to go no matter which one it was.
I didn't want to hurt the guy's feelings.
Are
It
you
would have
the
been,
weird one?
yeah. Look, just my marriage would have been very different.
If you want the
I
long
married
story,
him.
the funny thing is that we were both sort of weird because you asked me, "Is this the Seth with the thumb?" Do you remember that?
Yes,
The thumb.
because he
Because
had a
I had
bandage.
I had sliced my thumb open a few days earlier, and I had this huge hodgepodge, bandage that I had on it. So I've been going to class with this huge white gauze
Seth
tape
with
thing
the
on my
thumb.
thumb. So I was
Seth
known as
with the
Seth.
thumb.
Seth with the thumb.
But we went for that coffee, and we just became friends. And we were friends for a year and a half, and very good friends, but not flirty friends. We really weren't. I know it's hard to believe. but
I
we
know,
weren't.
Can you believe it? She didn't flirt with me at all.
And so he helped me with auditions. He'd help put me on tape, and I would help him do the same. And we just had this friendship, and it was like both of us new to LA, and it was very much, I'd go over to his house, we'd run the audition, I'd go to the audition, I'd come back, we'd have lunch, I'd have another audition, he'd have an audition, whatever. It was very busy. And we just helped each other. And I was still going back and forth between Canada and LA at the time. Then I kind of was there a little bit more permanently.
You were there pretty permanently at that point.
And then we were both at a place in our lives when it would be okay to have a relationship.
But we were still friends for a long time.
We were still friends.
Basically.
And then one night we went out for sushi
Yep.
with friends, and that's when things just changed. Literally, it went from friendship to flirtation, and that's when I realized, oh my God, I love him. I'm in love with him. I want to marry him. I've never wanted to get married in my life ever, but I want to marry him.
And I didn't
And that
believe
was
it. Like, she
true.
basically confessed all this stuff to me, and I'm like, no. And we stayed friends for another month after that. I was like, no, it's going to ruin our friendship. I don't believe it.
You're just
I
like, this
don't
isn't
know.
funny. Don't.
You must have had a head trauma. I don't know what it is, but
Food poisoning.
let's give it some. And then after a month, I was like, maybe I'm the one with the head trauma. How could I not be jumping?
I was just about to ask that.
Yeah.
Dude,
Well,
seriously.
Also, you've managed to transition from the friend zone into a permanent relationship.
Yeah.
That's pretty epic
and-
in itself, I have to
yes.
say.
I think
That is
that would
epic.
inspire most men on this planet.
Inquiring minds want to know.
So, where was this sushi place again?
It's called Omi Sushi. It's in West Hollywood.
Could you spell that for me?
Less the sushi and more the sake is
Yeah.
really.
Oh, well, that's
Omi sushi and sake.
Yep.
And there was, if we get really personal, there was some sort of reference made at the table
works.
about Seth's ability to get into people's pants. Someone said this.
One of my friends was making a joke.
And that's when I realized, that's when it hit me that I was like, I want him in my pants. What is going on?
That is not how I would have seen breaking the friend zone.
Exactly. Do you see why I thought she maybe got hit by a car? I was like, this is what reality is. This.
I love how he's
Quote
blushing
of the
now.
episode.
I think what's going to happen.
It could have been a line read. You don't know.
I'm going to take this inspiration and tweet a picture of me with a black eye. I think that's how this is going to go. Unfortunately.
And it was so funny because then the month later, our first sort of date, we went to a Mexican restaurant and had lots of tequila.
Tequila helped.
And that was our
Write
sort of
that
our
down.
first kiss. And we went back there 2 years later on our second year anniversary, and it was the same waiter. And we were like, oh my gosh, we were here 2 years ago, and you waited on us. You waited on us, and we fell in love that night, and now we're married. And he was like, oh, great. And he walked away, and Seth was like, you know what he's thinking right now? And I was like, what? He's like, I've been here for 2 effing years. But I don't think that's what he was thinking.
Well, it
Can I say effing?
Oh yeah.
Is that okay?
yeah,
Okay.
Being LA and all, he may have been a struggling actor as well, and maybe he was just really upset because he recognized you from.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I never thought
It's
of it
like,
that way.
dang it, she's got a show and she's got a relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm still here.
And I'm still here.
And I don't have
And
a relationship.
it was West Hollywood, so he might have been a little jealous that he probably wanted to be with me.
He wants a
That's
handsome
true.
boy, too.
awesome.
Yeah, he was. He
Who
does.
doesn't?
want
Then maybe that's it. He was just
thanks,
upset that you didn't give him an autograph.
You want to change sheets?
Yeah,
I
by the
haven't
way,
been
the
a lot
only
over
single
here.
person in the 2 rooms right now is Joel.
Is Joel?
Ah,
So
Not the
he's-
point
he's writing
figures.
this down. And
He is. He's been taking notes
only
about
single
your dates.
tequila.
Yeah.
I think you're still single.
Dude, I need all the help I can get.
Play hard to get, man.
I got a boy band expert here coaching me.
Apparently, all you need to do is
we have
move
true
to LA.
love story of breaking friend zone boundaries. This is. I'm writing a book on this stuff.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Well, I said this earlier, but I still attest that going from friends to a relationship tend to be some of the best relationships that if you can cross that barrier, it's pretty awesome and pretty epic. I say that from experience. It made me move countries.
Right.
So, when it works, it works. And
It totally works. And
it's not
yeah.
really the tequila or the sake.
No, it's a really great, like, we have each other's back. We were friends. We supported each other, and we still do. But now
Yeah.
we're also married and stuff.
It was so altruistic as friends,
Yeah.
and being friends first takes away that ego and the power struggle that sometimes relationships have, because you're never really trying to figure each other out and all that stuff. But
You could
it's all
probably-
gone because
You're not preoccupied with trying to impress her.
You could probably write a movie on that.
I'm still.
I know.
preoccupied with trying to-
Shop the
Seth?
script around. And
Write the movie.
Yes,
I wonder who
ma'am.
could play
How to
your
break the
parts,
friends
though.
barrier.
Yes, who would play you in a movie
Oh,
if it's
gosh.
not you?
Oh, that's a good
Oh, that's
question.
a good
great
question.
Wait a minute.
What
We're
time
asking
period
questions?
though?
Well, assuming it's this movie, the How to Break the Friend Barrier, and
Who would
it's
play me?
a
So it has to
story
be
of how
someone a
you
little
two
bit
met.
younger than me. Anna Kendrick?
Who's that?
She's from like Up in the
Up in the Air. I think she's really good.
She's great. Yeah.
Emma Stone, but she does not look anything like me.
No, but I'd watch her in anything. So
Yeah. Yeah, maybe Emma Stone.
Now, what about Seth?
Who would play me? Gerard Depardieu.
he's a bit old
Anna's
and can't take a
Seth
plane.
thinks I have a crush on him, and I don't. It was actually I meant Gerard Butler. He still teases me saying
I still
it's-
make fun of it.
Yeah.
I say it's
But
Gerard
he was
Depardieu.
awesome in that Asterix and Obelix movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife watched some of his movies just for him. They're a gamer. Yeah.
Gerard Butler?
She watched it just for him.
Yes.
And,
Not Gerard Depardieu.
no.
Probably
She
lovely.
no
Except
that
he peed on a plane.
that
too.
was
Yeah.
that was Butler,
Yeah, that was
and
not
I'm
very
still living with that fact that I watched that movie.
The funniest bit with the Gerard Depardieu plane thing is the only memory I have of that is when red-haired TV host
Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien. There we
O'Brien.
go. I have these moments.
I was going to say Carrot Top.
They kind of did a reenactment of that using peanuts.
Oh, the Peanuts. Yeah, it was awesome.
Actually, you want to see a funny one? Watch the episode of Anderson Cooper, where he tries to tell that story, and he loses it. Like he's only broke down I think twice on a show, and that was
But I mean-
so funny.
If anyone could get away with doing that on a plane, it's Gerard Depardieu. I mean,
I think
he's
so.
a big,
Probably.
loud French man.
He's French.
Yeah.
It's not something that you'd hear and think that's so out
Or
of
Alec
character.
Baldwin. I
Alec
think he could've gotten
Baldwin
away
could
with
probably do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he'd be all smooth talking when he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't even
I don't
realize.
think
he's
that I
peeing
could
on
get
you.
away with it. I don't think that I'd want to.
But apparently you can get away with cat poop, so
I
we're
can,
good.
but that's,
Yeah, really,
that's a little
that-
different.
Yeah, you could kind of stage it differently and pull the cat out during the flight and just.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Okay.
Hey, so that's enough of the going that
Then
way.
there'll be another thing banned from airplanes because
I know.
So I have an hour and 20 minutes recorded so far, so I think that's,
Good luck editing.
yes, definitely be a two-parter.
Yay.
or three.
Well, actually, there's one last question. I
Okay,
had.
sure.
Of course.
You went to school here, and you went to Stu and all that, and I'm sure some of our listeners are wondering what the bang was.
Thanks, Seth.
Yeah, no. So some of our listeners are probably going through school and probably have similar career expectations or dreams that they want to follow. What would you say to them, someone who's still in school and has the urge to become an actor or an actress?
Well, I mean, I know I touched on it before, but I would just make sure you really love it and you really wanted to do it, because it really is a pursuit of love. You have to. There's no guarantee that what you put in you'll get back, and it's nice to be able to say, like, if you work really, really hard, you'll get there. It's not that kind of an industry. It is in some ways, but in other ways, someone else is constantly making decisions about your future. It doesn't matter how great you are. I know a lot of great actors, and you don't know who they are because they haven't had a break yet. They will, I hope, and I'm sure they will. But it is hard. It's really hard. So I think people who are, aspiring to do that, they just have to know that it's not the kind of thing where you say, okay, I'm going to go give it 6 months. I'm going to go give it a year. It doesn't work that way. You have to go and give it your life. You have to love it because you're going to have to do other things, other jobs that you might not love. And then, when you first go to pursue it, there's things like, how do you get an agent? All those things, honestly, you just have to start trying. That's the only way to learn how to do it, is to learn how to do it badly. And then you'll figure out, what you're supposed to do. When I first moved to Toronto, I had got a book about how to find an agent. It said, send out headshot, resume, and cover letter, but also send a self-addressed stamped envelope, because you want your headshots back because they're expensive. And if they don't want to represent you, you should have that in there. So I did that with 15 agencies. I got 15 no's. I only got some of my headshots back. But I think that was kind of a mistake because it was such a defeatist way of looking for an agent.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend that, but I do recommend just staying in the game. Get into a class. Get involved. you really, like, activity will breed more activity. And I really believe that the more you put into it, you will get back, but it will be small things that you might not recognize. And I always say that, I've told Seth this, that it was when I was waitressing that I had this epiphany that was epic, that that changed that mentality for me. I mean, I've always been a hard worker, and I've always been someone who knows that it's a little ripple effect that can lead to bigger things. It's not just like, how did that person get that big part? Well, it took a lot of work. Or not. Maybe it was their first audition. It happens, but rarely. But it was when I was waitressing and I was cleaning up this table and I saw a knife on the floor in the corner. I was like, oh, God, I'll get that later. And then I was like, no, I can't get that later. You know, and my coworker was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, do you not understand that if I leave that knife there, that I'm doing a half-assed job, that I'm not putting everything I can into this very moment? And I went on this rant. And I was like, I have to pick that knife up, because if I don't, it means that I'm going to get lazy in my acting class, and I'm going to get lazy. And that was my moment of, like, you know, pick up the knife, move forward. And it really resonated with me, you know?
The knife as a metaphor.
Yes.
So the key to getting a good acting job is having a knife?
Yes, exactly.
Being a good waitress.
That's
Don't
the way.
leave the knife in the corner, Andy. Don't do it.
But it's about
And nobody puts a knife in the corner.
setting high standards for yourself, high expectations for
And people
yourself,
laughing
and
at them as well.
constantly, you know, raising above them.
It's very difficult because sometimes when you want to lower the bar, convincing yourself is the easiest way. Like, you don't have anybody else to answer to, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to skimp on certain things, if you're going to leave the knife there, it's very easy to convince yourself that it's okay to leave the knife there.
Right.
It's very hard to motivate yourself to go pick up the knife. I'm using this knife metaphor, which is kind of smart.
But something else that I thought sort of falsely when I started too is, you know, I saw all these people, and I went to Toronto and I met all these actors that were like really good, and it was hard to picture myself as being one of them. And what I would say to people that are starting out is that if they look at my show and they like the show, which I'm really happy if they do, and if they look at my success as someone who's made it, the truth is that I'm not different than them. They're not different than me. There's no, you know, I got really lucky, but it came from a decade of hard work. Mm-hmm. And someone finally said, she's the one. She's not going to be the other girl. She's going to be the girl. And I got this part, and who knows what's going to happen after Last Girl. I still have to, you know, pick up the knife. I still have to move forward, and I still have to work my butt off. Yeah, I get seen a little more easily for things, but I'm not different, you know, and no one is. And if you meet some famous person that pretends they're different, they're not. They're just an asshole. Oh, I can't say asshole. They're just a jerk face. Because the people that I've met some big celebrities, and when they're really big celebrities, they're the nicest people. Mm-hmm. They're the kindest people, and they understand their position. You know, you're kind of seen as better than or something, and they understand the position they're in, and they don't abuse it. It's the people that didn't quite get there that abuse it.
I was very nervous before you came in to talk to a celebrity. You know, I've never spoken to a celebrity before. I didn't know what to expect. And
You've
I have to say,
spoken
you
to
put me
me a
completely
lot.
at ease. You're
Good.
really, really awesome. And Seth, you too, the two of
Thanks,
you,
man.
anytime you guys want to come back to Epic, open door policy.
Absolutely.
If we're still on the air.
That's actually a valid point.
We rewind the clock an hour and a half. You were not at ease. We're on the first line of the show.
Well, it's been a real pleasure, and we would be happy to come back anytime.
Thank you. So we're going to finish the show there. For those of you who want to hear an extended version of this interview with Anna Silk, you can head over to geekly.com. That's GEEKLOO.com/epic. You could follow Anna on her Twitter feed at
Anna_Silk.
Anna_Silk. And you can follow Seth Cooperman at
Seth Cooperman.
all one word.
Yep.
And we will close the show with these epic words of wisdom from Anna Silk.
Always pick up the knife.
Anna, I'd like to thank you once again.
Thank
Bottom of my heart, you were
Yes.
one of the most awesome people we've
Thank
had
you.
in the studio in a long time.
None of the regulars are offended by that.
And of course, the lovely and
Almost had it.
Cut that.
got that. This is what I have to put up with, by the way.
All the time.
How do you do it?
I don't know.
I need a toilet seat and a Phillips screwdriver.
Stack. No questions.
Can you tell us a bit about your family? Does running
None of my family run. None of them run.
So to finish off the show, we're going to have Anna
Do you want
say-
to put Seth's Twitter?
I wasn't going to ask, but thank you.
Yes.
I am a jerk face.
Yes.
In the character, the flight is just kind
Right.
of stressed out.
Okay. All right.
It's effective with that. You're all looking away too.
I have no idea what to say. Do you realize that I have a flight in exactly 1 hour and my time is extremely precious? There was no car waiting for me out front. Mark, is that your name? I want my water cold, but this chair is too hard. There's no pop filters in this microphone. And who are all these people staring at me?
That was eerily convincing.
That was good.
That was unfortunately her true feelings. So,
Welcome
She's never
welcome to my
coming
home.
back.
Epic.